Hey, good morning, and thank you for waiting just a few minutes for us to get started here. It looks like we're right around 11:03 here in Central Standard Time, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So just want to thank you for joining the third installment of our Modern Work Security Series webinars. My name is Lori Martinez, and I am a Modern Work Solution Specialist here to help moderate and assist with answering your questions here. In the first two sessions, if you've joined us before, we discussed and demoed some of the features of Azure AD P1 and P2. If you missed them, fret not, we will be putting a link to our YouTube channel so you can catch up on those. Really great information inside of those particular webinars, so make sure you follow up and watch those as well. But today we will be discussing some of the features of Microsoft's Defender for O365. Defender for O365 is more than just an email hygiene product. On top of email protection, it also protects SharePoint Online, OneDrive, and Teams. So presenting today is Modern Work Technical Specialist Ryan Ding. And also please feel free to post any questions that you might have in the chat. If you happen to have additional questions or want more information based off of this particular, today's webinar, please reach out to either your dedicated sales specialist, someone like myself, or a digital sales representative that you might have here at Microsoft, or if you also have a partner that you work with currently for your licensing or support needs, reach out to them as well. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand this off to Ryan so we can start the webinar. And I'll be monitoring any of those questions in the chat along with my colleague Shay. So please post them in there. We're always happy to answer those. All right, Ryan, it's all you.
Thank you, Lori. Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Ding, and I am a digital technical specialist here with the Modern Work team at Microsoft. Welcome to our webinar for Microsoft Defender for Office 365. On our agenda today will be an introduction to Defender for Office 365, where I will walk you through the core features of Defender when it comes to the following pillars of security: securing your email inboxes as well as your other Office 365 applications, preventing phishing, spam, and malware attacks, and also training your users to be more vigilant and aware when it comes to email security. This September, we announced new product names for our threat protection offerings. As part of this announcement, we are unifying all extended detection and response technologies under the Microsoft Defender brand. So what used to be known as Office 365 Advanced Threat Protection, or ATP, will now be called Microsoft Defender for Office 365. Data from our own research, as well as other investigative reports from IBM, Verizon, and even the FBI, has shown that email is the most common attack vector for cyber attacks, with 91% of cyber attacks starting with email. Each of these attacks takes an average of 280 days to identify and contain, contributing to billions of dollars of loss attributed to breaches due to email compromise since 2016. With this threat in mind, why should you choose Microsoft to defend your environments and data? First, our protection against threats extends beyond email to SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams, and other Office 365 apps to allow simplified administration from a single portal. Defender is also natively built into Office 365, providing seamless security that can be turned on with the flip of a switch. There's no need for plugins or complex installs, and as a result, there's also no impact to your end user's productivity, giving you the path of least resistance when it comes to implementing new security controls. Second, our robust filtering stack is powered by AI and continuously improved with data from you as well as other customers around the world, providing you the most up-to-date protection against a wide variety of attacks. Defender for Office 365 also offers an extensive set of incident response capabilities, reducing the burden on your SecOps teams. Zero-hour auto purge, or ZAP, removes suspicious or malicious emails from inboxes after delivery, and automated investigation playbooks by recommended remediation actions for a variety of common scenarios. This all results in a complete solution for collaboration. Defender for Office 365 protects across the kill chain, providing prevention and detection capabilities backed up by detailed reporting and automated investigation response. We provide in-product guidance and training for both end users and administrators, improving security posture across the organization. Finally, we have a continuing commitment to research. We invest more than $1 billion annually in threat experts, research, and development to support a comprehensive cross-company approach to security. Microsoft Defender for Office 365 protects from attacks across the kill chain and provides customers with a comprehensive solution across these 6 pillars of a secure enterprise: prevention, detection, investigation and hunting, response and remediation, awareness and training, and secure posture. So our focus today will be on prevention of attacks, maintaining security awareness in your organization, and also maintaining a secure posture when it comes to email and O365 security. The attacks faced by your users are more advanced than ever, which is why it's critical to have a solution that provides effective prevention and early detection of threats. Awareness is not just simulations and training, but also providing an experience and product that educates your users and helps them be the last line of defense. And of course, secure posture is something that we can not only help you achieve, but also maintain. Let's talk about prevention. With prevention, we aim to eliminate threats and thwart attacks long before they land in the inbox of your users. The first line of defense against threats to your organization is our filtering stack. A large percentage of emails sent to Office 365 never even make it into the cloud environment thanks to robust edge protection. Our sender intelligence layer provides protection against advanced attacks like business email compromise and impersonation attacks thanks to industry-leading AI and the learnings we've gained from the sheer size of our service. When it comes to advanced attacks like business email compromise, these threats are harder to detect. We use machine learning to build an advanced understanding of a user's email habits as well as personal contacts. We learn how each individual user communicates with other users inside your organization as well as outside and build up a map of these relationships. And with this, we can help understand and evaluate each message to ensure the right messages are identified as impersonation. When it comes to advanced attacks like business email compromise, these threats are harder to detect. We use machine learning to build an advanced understanding of these relationships, allowing us to further identify the emails that you should be receiving and those that you shouldn't. With Defender for Office 365, we also make it easy to protect not just email, but all of Office 365. All it takes is a few clicks to extend protections like safe links and safe attachments beyond email to SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams, and Office apps. Safe attachments is a feature that provides an additional layer of protection for email attachments that have already been scanned by anti-malware protection, so the protection that's included already in Exchange Online. Specifically, safe attachments use a virtual environment to check attachments and email messages before they're delivered to recipients, a process known as detonation. Our new dynamic delivery feature allows emails to be delivered without attachments while the file is still being scanned by safe attachments. This file is then reattached after scanning is complete. On top of providing additional protection for email, safe attachments can also be enabled for all files open in SharePoint, OneDrive, and Teams, extending your protection throughout the rest of Office 365. Safe links is a feature that provides URL scanning and rewriting of inbound email messages and mail flow, and time of click verification of URLs and links in email messages and other locations. Safe link scanning occurs in addition to the regular anti-spam and anti-malware protection in inbound email messages in Exchange Online, providing you an additional protection against phishing and other attacks. Safe links checks the URL at the time of click, which protects your users from malicious links that may have been weaponized after an initially harmless link has made it into a user's mailbox. Like safe attachments, safe links can also be extended to the rest of your Office 365 applications, as well as Microsoft Teams. While good technology stops a majority of phish attacks before they ever reach your user's inbox, you need to empower your users to identify and defend against these attacks as well. Attack Simulator and Defender for Office 365 now offers a comprehensive simulation, payload, and training package. This allows you to quickly create mock phishing, spam, and malware simulations to test your user security posture and awareness. We've also partnered with Terranova Security to deliver training to your users. Terranova Security Training Catalog is developed and available in 12+ languages and can be automatically or manually deployed to users as part of a simulation, when some users will inevitably fall for your simulated phishing email or other payloads. And we've made it easy to track your organization's progress against a predicted compromise rate per simulation. Gain visibility over training completion and simulation coverage for your entire organization in the Attack Simulator dashboard. Outside of simulation and training, Defender for Office 365 also builds user awareness through in-product guidance. In this email, you'll notice the safety tip calling out that this isn't the email address that Patty usually uses to send you messages. In the body of the email, we see that Patty is urgently looking for access to a confidential document. Despite the fact that SafeLinks wraps the URL to ensure it's not malicious at the time of click, this user sees the original URL and can make a determination about the legitimacy of it without having to click. Finally, Defender for Office 365 can help you maintain a secure posture when it comes to email security. Configuration Analyzer lets you compare your configuration to our recommended settings, providing policy guidance whenever you need it, and allowing you to quickly make changes to either meet our standard or strict security recommendations. We also provide preset security policies, allowing you to choose to easily configure your environment with our recommended settings. Unfortunately, due to time constraints for this webinar, we will not be able to demonstrate investigation and hunting or response and remediation features today, but I'd like to quickly summarize and highlight some key features. Beyond prevention and detection, it's important to ensure your security teams have access to the right information and the right insights to help prioritize response. The Threat Explorer dashboard enables us to begin delving into granular data for our organization, where we can begin to see a pattern of the types of attacks as well as the origin of attacks that we may be experiencing. Automated investigation and response in Microsoft Defender for Office 365 provides playbooks to automatically investigate threats. We've created predefined playbooks based on common scenarios like compromised user detection, malware detected post-delivery, or user reported phish. If you would like to learn more about these advanced investigation and response features, please join us for our next webinar, which I believe is April 28th, where we will delve deeper into these topics as well as cover how these features apply to your endpoints, identity, infrastructure, as well as cloud security. So hopefully I haven't bored anyone to death yet with the slides, but we are now going to go into the demo portion. So I'm going to hop into a demo tenant and hopefully be able to show all these features that we've been talking about. So here we are in the Microsoft for Defender homepage, which is going to be your security.microsoft.com dashboard. Along with the Defender rebranding, Microsoft has also streamlined and simplified the administrative experience for all of our security and compliance tools. All security configurations across Defender products can now be managed from a single location, the M365 Security Console, providing our customers a cloud-based single pane of glass experience that can be accessed from any browser. So if you look here on the left side, there will be an email and collaboration blade and section. Everything related to Defender for Office 365 will be found in this section. We're going to go ahead and click into the policies and rules blade to begin configuring our prevention policies. On this next page, we see our threat policies as well as multiple options to configure varying levels of alerting. Let's go ahead and click into our threat policies. The first thing that you'll see at the top will be our templated policies. These will allow you to quickly set default anti-phishing, anti-spam, and anti-malware policies throughout your environment. We're going to come back to that in a bit. let's continue on to this next section, where you will be able to specifically configure policies for each of these attack types, as well as your more advanced safe attachments and safe links policies. Let's walk through each of these policies types, starting with anti-phishing and anti-spam. Out of the box, Office 365 provides an anti-phishing default policy, so it's going to be this one right here, that protects your users from phishing attacks, but you can set up custom policies to increase this protection. So let's go ahead and set up our own custom policy. Our demo custom policy. I'm going to give it a name. The users, groups, and domains page basically allows you to decide who this policy will apply to. You can apply this policy to groups of users across your organization using the groups or domains field, or you can choose specific users for special cases. But we're going to go ahead and just apply this to our entire domain. The first thing we will configure here on the next page is the phishing email threshold. This threshold controls the aggressiveness of confidence in which emails will basically be marked as phishing emails. So the standard value is 1, but you can raise this as high as 4. So 4 is the most aggressive, so that messages that are kind of identified with a low degree of confidence will be treated as if they're for sure spam or identified with a high degree of confidence. The next control will be impersonation, both of users and domains. You can select up to 350 internal and external users to be protected against impersonation. We commonly recommend this to be applied to high visibility individuals such as your CEO or CFO, and you also have the option to scan and apply against domain impersonation. So I'm not going to add any users for now, but I'm going to go ahead and enable domain impersonation. The next control is to enable mailbox intelligence. Mailbox intelligence is an AI-driven feature, and it determines user email patterns with their frequent contacts, basically. And this setting helps Defender distinguish between messages from legitimate and impersonated senders. You can also turn on the intelligence impersonation feature in order to specify the action to take on messages for impersonation detections. The last control is spoof intelligence. Spoofing is when the from address in an email message doesn't match the domain of the email source. And you also have additional options down here to control which senders are allowed to spoof your domains. I'm going to go ahead and click next. After specifying which controls you want to turn on in the last page, this next actions page will allow us to specify what actions we want taken for specific controls. So you'll see there's one for impersonated users, there's one for impersonated domains, and for each one you'll generally see these 5 options. There's take no action. You can redirect that message to another email address, move the message to junk, quarantine the message, deliver the message and add a BCC, or just delete the message completely before delivery. For this example, I'm just going to go ahead and hit quarantine the message for impersonated domains. For quarantine messages, you can specify a quarantine policy. And so this is basically just deciding whether you are giving your recipients the ability to view quarantine messages or if that ability will only be restricted to an admin. Lastly, you can configure a variety of safety tips and indicators to increase end user awareness and safety. And I'll just talk about a few. The first contact safety tip just notifies the recipient the first time that they get a message from a sender, or if they don't often get messages from a particular sender. And there's also domain impersonation safety tips that are shown to recipients when the sender's or domain email is included in impersonation protection. I'm just going to enable one of these. Hit next. The final page just allows us to review all the settings for the policy we are creating. and click Submit at the bottom to go ahead and create your policy. So our new policy has been successfully created. If we go back to the anti-phishing policies page, you can see that our new policy has been created. Let's move on to anti-spam. So anti-spam policies are going to look very similar. We have default inbound and outbound policies, as well as a connection filter policy. So you are somewhat protected out of the box, but again, we want to create a stricter policy to be more aggressive. So let's create an inbound policy. Users and groups and domains is going to be the same thing. So we're going to just apply this to our entire domain. There is a bulk email threshold that is similar to the phishing email threshold. It's basically going to be a slider that you can control the aggressiveness for identifying spam email. The spam properties down here will allow you to specify whether certain elements such as URLs, image links, certain languages will increase the likelihood that a message is identified as spam, and there's actually quite a few options for certain elements in email that might be found that you want to lower your likelihood of it being a high confidence spam. Going to go ahead and click next. In the actions page, you will have a similar set of actions that you can take when messages are identified as spam, and you'll see that there's separate ones for spam as well as high confidence spam, but the actions are going to be very similar. Notably, you can enable a feature called 0-hour auto purge, or ZAP, down at the bottom. ZAP actually gives you the ability to retroactively detect and remove phishing, spam, or malware messages that have already been delivered to Exchange mailboxes if they are found to be malicious after delivery. ZAP continually monitors updates to spam and malware signatures, so your content is being scanned even after delivery in case it is weaponized later. So it can go ahead and pull emails that have already been delivered to mailboxes even after the fact. I'm going to go ahead and click next. The allow and block list allows you to whitelist or blacklist certain user groups and domains completely. We're going to leave this blank for now and go ahead and review and create. Cool. Our new anti-spam policy has now been created, and you will now see that show up in your anti-spam policies on top of the default policy. Let's talk about anti-malware now. So with anti-malware as well, there is a default policy, but you'll see with anti-malware, you have the option of doing things like specifying certain file types that you don't want to allow ever. We're going to want to do the same thing with our users, groups, and domains. Under protection settings, the first option we see is the common attachments filter. Any attachment types that are selected will be automatically identified as malware and email messages. So these are the 13 most common file types that are found to be malware, basically, and you can click this customize file types, and there's I think there's almost 100 different file types that you can specify, but out of the box, it's the 13 most common ones. There is also a 0-hour auto purge or ZAP for malware, which we recommend you turn on so you can remove messages with malware after delivery. Same thing here with the quarantine policy. You can specify your own quarantine policy, and then there are notification settings for whether recipients, senders, and admins are notified when messages are quarantined as malware. Then same thing here at the end. We're going to go ahead and just go ahead and submit, create that. So that brings us to two of our more advanced features, safe attachments and safe links. Safe attachments, as I briefly alluded to in the presentation deck, is a feature that the safe attachments engine basically opens all files and tests them in a virtual environment in a process called detonation to determine whether files are safe before users can open them. This process is super quick and usually only takes a few seconds for each file, and from the user perspective, it's pretty much seamless. They just wait 1 or 2 seconds before the file will be opened. If you go to the safe attachments policies, you will see that there is a built-in protection setting that that offers protection for email if you have licensing active. But as I mentioned before, you can apply safe attachments not only to email, but also to the rest of your Office 365 environment. So this includes SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams, as well as Office applications. So you're going to what you want to do is go to these global settings, and there will be a switch to turn on Defender for Office 365 for SharePoint, OneDrive, and Teams. And then there's also one to turn on safe documents for Office clients. So any modern Office clients will support safe attachments. So these files will be scanned before they're opened in any Office applications as well. Now on to Safe Links. Safe Links is a feature that provides URL scanning of all links, as well as time of click verification of any URLs that are clicked. Safe Links will quickly scan and verify links clicked in any workflow of Office 365, including email, SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams, and all the productivity apps such as OneNote, PowerPoint, Word, Excel, etc. You will again see built-in protection for Exchange mailboxes, but you can extend the protection to the rest of Office 365 the same way in the global settings. So just click on the slider to use Safe Links in Office 365 apps. Safe Links protection is supported in all modern O365 desktop, mobile, and web apps. So let's move on to talking about how you can maintain a secure posture. So we're going to go back to our policies and rules and look at some of these templated policies at the top here. So we're going to go to preset security policies. The built-in protection applies automatically to all users in your org to protect you against links and attachments. So this by default enables safe links and safe attachments for Exchange Online, so your email inboxes. What you'll want to do is on top of that to also enable either standard or strict protection, and these can be turned on with the flip of a switch. So standard protection provides you some additional safeguards on top of the built-in protection, including restriction of file types and stricter thresholds for phishing and spam. The strict protection baseline will provide you the most aggressive profile. So you're basically turning up the knob on all those sliders, those thresholds across all attack types. And it's going to take more aggressive actions on malicious emails and attachments. So for this demo tenant, we've turned on standard protection. Let's go back to the threat policies. There is a relatively new feature called Configuration Analyzer. This allows you to compare your current policy settings to Microsoft baseline and recommendations, as well as track changes in your policy. You can see we have 3 tabs, so you can compare against either standard or strict recommendations provided by Microsoft, as well as this Configuration Drift Analysis and History tab will show changes that have recently been made to your policies, as well as the drift from the standard or strict recommendations. You can see if I go to the standard recommendations tab, it will show me every single policy that doesn't match the standard that you are comparing against and recommend actions to take in order to meet that standard. So for this specific high confidence spam detection policy, it wants me to take the action to quarantine the message rather than move it to junk mail folder. For each of these recommendations, I can click on it and either click the option to view the policy or apply the recommendation directly, right? So there's no need for you to go hunt for the policy or change it yourself. You can simply click this button to apply the recommendation and it will change it for you. And now you're one step closer to meeting that standard recommendation standard. And the last thing I wanted to demo is attack simulation training. And this is as I mentioned before, a complete package to really train your users and to bring their awareness up to a standard that you're comfortable with. And this contains all the payloads and the simulation and automation that you might need for that. So the Payloads tab provides a comprehensive library of templates and attack payloads that you can choose from to test your users. One that I feel like I've personally gotten before is, I buy a lot of stuff online, so this DHL shipment confirmation one is one that I personally might fall for, but you can choose from a variety. When you click on a payload, it's going to show you what the email will look like to your end user, as well as, hey, this is probably going to be that phishing link, as well as all the other information. So all the other fields, the subject, the source, etc. Within this page, you can filter by compromise rate. So this compromise rate is calculated across all of our customers globally. So if you do want a stricter test that is more likely to catch your users, you can filter by this rate. Our most commonly failed one is this American Express password reset phishing email. And basically it just looks like an email from Amex asking you to change your password. And globally, we have a failure rate of about 45% on this. On the simulations page, you can create a simulation campaign. So I'm going to go ahead and launch a simulation. You have about 5 different attack types that you can test your user with. The most common one is the credential harvest. So this is going to be a message with a URL that they are trying to get the user to click that will take them to a website where they're trying to steal their credentials, but there are also different ones such as attaching a malware attachment, a link within an attachment, as well as a couple others. Let's just go with credential harvest. Let's do MX simulation. And we're just going to use that one with the highest compromise rate, the MX password reset one, which you can see a preview of here. The next page is the target users page. You can decide to only include specific users and groups if you think they might be of higher risk, or you can just include all users in your organization. The next page is the training page. So as I mentioned during the presentation portion, we have partnered with a company called Terra Nova Security, who provides all of our training materials and all the videos and all the coursework for maintaining good security. And so this is generally the kind of thing that you can expect when you start a new company. You have to go through all these courses. It's that kind of coursework of how to maintain a secure posture and make sure that your data is being secured. You have the option of selecting specific training courses and modules yourself from Microsoft's catalog, or you can have the training assigned for you. And this training will be specific and dependent on what kind of simulation you run. And it will not only provide the user the training, but also basically provide them a deadline and remind them periodically to complete that training. You can select a training due date yourself. So we can just do 30 days after simulation ends. The next page is going to be customizing your landing page. So what is the user going to see if they do indeed click on that phishing link? I'm just going to go ahead and open this preview panel. So this is the default landing page. You can add your company logo, the employee name, you were just phished by our security team. And at the bottom here, it will give them tips to, it's going to show them the email that they clicked on and some tips to identify the phishing message. And then at the very bottom here, they will be notified that they have been assigned training to learn how to avoid clicking on these kinds of emails in the future, and they will be able to go directly to the training through here. But again, this is fully customizable, so if you want to use your own landing page template, your own company logo, you can add those as well. This next page is going to be end user notifications. So the Microsoft default notification is just going to, it's not going to let the user know that they're part of a simulation, but they will be notified a few times and reminded afterwards to complete training if they have done so, but you can also customize how you want to deliver notifications. For the purposes of this demo, I'm just going to do not deliver. And the last page is just going to be the launch details. So you can launch this simulation as soon as I submit this simulation and complete it, or you can schedule the simulation to be launched after at a certain date. You can configure a certain number of days that you want the simulation to run, and then you can also enable region-aware time zone delivery. So this will basically strive to deliver these phishing emails during business hours or sometime when the user would be likely to see it pop up in their inbox. And generally, you'll see with these simulations that the phishing emails are sent kind of randomly throughout the course of the simulation to your users. The last page, you have the option of sending a test email to yourself to see what it's going to look like. But you're basically just going to review the simulation here and go ahead and submit, which will launch the simulation. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of there. Once you launch a simulation, it's going to show up in the dashboard here. I don't have one actively running here, but what you'll see is it's going to show you the progress across your organization and the compromise rate. So as users click on the email and then either click into the link or don't click into the link, it will show a dynamic dashboard of what users have clicked into it, what's the percent of users that have clicked into it, and you can generate reporting from there. You know, if you need to show that there's a certain percentage of users in your organization that have either completed training or not completed training, there's a variety of filtering you can do there with the reporting. So that ends the demo portion of this webinar. Hopefully through all the capabilities of detection that I have shown today, as well as secure posture and awareness and training, you were able to learn something to improve your organization's security posture. I'm going to go ahead and actually pass it back to Lori.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. And Ryan is showing right now some Microsoft case studies that go over Defender. So if you are interested in learning about other customers' digital transformation here, here are some of the links that I have ready for you guys if you want to go ahead and read up on any of these. Oops, that didn't work there. Let's see. Here is the Bridgewater case study. I'll do it one by one here. Bridgewater. And the other one is Hamilton Beach case study. Hamilton Beach. And the last one that we have here as well is Ithaca College case study. And there are some additional case studies. If you go into the main page, you have the ability to modify or filter what products you might be interested in and learning about other customers that have utilized the 365 or any of the Microsoft services here, including Azure. This one is Ithaca. And read up on those. And then, let's see, Ryan, can you go to the next slide for me, please? All right, sweet. And so Ryan did mention for the automated investigation and remediation piece, this is part of a larger Defender overview, right? So the next upcoming webinar will be Defender for Endpoint on April 28th. And this particular webinar will go over, of course, the Defender for Endpoint, Plan 1 and Plan 2, all those features that come into there. Basically features such as threat and vulnerability management, endpoint detection and response, and then also that automated investigation and remediation, which is really long to say, so we just call it AIR. And then we will be placing the registration link for any of the upcoming webinars. If you want to sign up for more, if you haven't, we'll be placing that in the chat. And then since we do have a few minutes left, please feel free to ask any additional questions in the chat and we'll take them one by one, whether it's around Defender for Office 365 or if you have maybe some other questions as well that we're here to help answer. So we're also going to post some a link for feedback, and I just want to kind of like pause on this one because we really want to know how we're doing with these webinars. So if you take just a few minutes just to answer a few simple questions, I promise it'll take you like 30 seconds to fill it out. It's really important to us so we know how to make these webinars better for you. Any information, anything additional that you might want to hear about, talk about, anything we can do better, it's super important. So since we do have a few minutes left, of course, I'll be hanging out here if anybody wants to post anything in the chat. And there's the link for the registration piece. Thank you for that. And I will be posting some of these here. So let's do the registration for future webinars. Is this one here. Starting at, this is going to be for sure webinar registration.
So I posted the link to
Oh, you did? Okay,
register
cool.
for, yes, and also the feedback form.
Awesome, thank you. All right. And just any additional questions? I know we still have about 20 or so people here, so that's pretty cool. But again, I'll be hanging out here for the next couple of minutes if you guys have anything that comes up. And Shay is here as well. And let me get that YouTube up as well. And there is also, I posted the, I'm not sure if Shay, you did this already, but I posted the YouTube channel as well. So you can go back to view these webinars if you go back into the Teams link after we're done, so you can rewatch if you need from there. If you prefer using something like YouTube, that's not going to be showing through your Teams application, there's also the YouTube page. Just give us a couple of days to make sure that we can edit it down, but it will be uploaded as soon as we can. There are already 2 additional ones there that I had mentioned before that go over Azure AD P1 and P2. And then this one again will be added as well. And it doesn't look, looks like we're losing a couple of people. Oh, I see one question. Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you, whoever posted that. Thank you so much. So since it looks like there's not any additional questions here, which is completely fine, we are coming up to the end of this session, so we will be concluding it. The recording again will be made available to you for future reference, or again, you can view them at our YouTube channel. And if there's any additional questions, something we didn't cover, something you want maybe a deeper dive to go over on, please reach out to either your Microsoft sales specialist or your preferred partner, and they can get you in touch with us, or they can speak to you about it as well. But we do have sales specialists here, solution specialists, and of course technical specialists to help you with any of your Microsoft questions around modern work. So with that, I just want to say thank you to Shay for helping me moderate the Q&A, and Ryan Ding for the absolutely amazing presentation over Defender for O365. So thank you guys for joining, and see you guys next webinar.